How's this for me? Is that good, or would you prefer me to lean in a little further? I could get right in there, but...
No, that sounds all right.
That sounds all right here. This is all right. All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah, what's the format?
So you forget?
Yes.
Welcome to another season of Bit Weird But Fair Enough, I Guess. So, has anything weird been going on since last time we spoke? Anything weird been going on? You know, there's a global pandemic, which is unfortunate rather than weird. But the percentage of people who don't believe that the virus is a real thing is pretty weird. The number of people refusing to take any measures to prevent themselves getting sick, or people they know getting sick, that's pretty weird. There was an insurrection of some kind, you know. Not an everyday occurrence, I wouldn't have thought, in a superpower, but hey, they're not the kind of weird things we like to talk about on this show. No, our weird things are of much greater consequence, so much more important. So I'm not going to waste any more of your time here. Let's go to some now with my friend Monty guesting. Well, I'm here with my friend Monty. Hello, friend.
Hello, Stu. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing all right. Apologies right off the bat for the fact that it's a little bit cicada-y around here.
Cicada-y. Yeah, cicada-y. Is that... Yeah, I suppose that's the word for it.
Yeah, of multiple cicadas.
There is cicada around. Yeah.
Oh, were you going to ask me if cicadas is plural or whether cicadas
exactly.
is plural? Yeah,
they are the cow of the insect world. So pluralism, you would think, like a cow, there's many cow, right? I think I've got this wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of sheep. I'm thinking of sheep.
Yeah, you don't say sheeps, but you do say cows.
You do say cows?
Yes.
Yeah, there aren't many cow in a field, are there? No, that's bizarre. Oh, what a good start.
That's a great start.
Yeah, sorry.
No, please. It's you know, we're back for a new season. There's bound to be a bit of rustiness.
Yeah, that's true. I haven't talked since last season.
But you know what? Oh, shut up, you stupid cicadas. I'm sure you people will get used to that. Look, I'm going to start us off with a little law, a weird law.
Good.
To get us back into the flow of things.
I'd like to hear this law, Stuart. Do you remember Stuart Law?
I do remember Stuart Law. Great cricketer.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I don't know. I think I was
a cricketer. Let's go with that.
I was being polite.
Yeah.
I kind of thought about it for a second.
Yeah,
it was all right. I mean, played for Australia. That's more than I've done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But back then, could I have played for Australia?
Closer than now, I would think.
Worth debating.
Yeah.
Look, are you planning on going to Poland at any point?
No, but I have been.
All right.
Is it possible I broke this law?
Did you...
This Stuart Law when I was there?
Did you wear a Winnie the Pooh shirt at any point during your trip to Poland?
No, but it's possible that someone I know could... that's not that far out of the realm of possibility, right?
Is that the sort of gear your people you know wear, usually?
It kind of gives off the impression I hang around with children. I don't.
All right. Well, the point is that Winnie the Pooh...
Yeah.
Is actually banned in Poland because he doesn't wear pants.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
So, you can't get caught with any Winnie the Pooh stuff. You got Winnie Pooh on your shirt. If you have a little kind of cute backpack with Winnie the Pooh on it, which I can imagine you
potentially
having.
I was going to say I watched their stance on Humphrey B. Bear.
Well, I don't
also
know.
pantsless.
I don't know how big he is in Poland, though.
Oh, you can tell without the pants, eh? Oh,
I don't know. Like, I know he's big in Newcastle.
yeah. I used to remember him from Manly. I would see him in the newsagent out the front of. I think the newsagent was called Humphreys.
Right.
Yeah, and I believe they employed Humphrey B. Bear style imagery.
So I think that the kind of key market areas were Newcastle in New South Wales, Australia, and Poland.
Yeah, Warsaw. Yeah, Gdansk.
Yes.
Wrocław.
So Poland have issued a ban on Winnie the Pooh around playgrounds and schools.
Well, fair.
Finding that, but is it though? Is it a worry?
No, the pantsless bear is taken out of context. A pantsless bear is, well, no, more a shirted bear is scary than pantsless bear.
Okay, but does that mean Donald Duck is banned in Poland because he doesn't wear pants?
Look, it's that.
And he's a fruity sailor.
Yeah, but he's different to Pluto, right? Who is also a dog in that universe, but one is like amorphic, one is like a human, and one is like a dog. What's going on there?
I don't know. It must be magic.
Yeah.
Magic of Disney.
Does Mickey Mouse wear pants?
Yeah, he does.
A shirt?
I think it's an open whisket.
Open whisket. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Go on. So you're not allowed to have.
My point is that they've singled Winnie the Pooh out particularly when there are other
pantsless,
depanted cartoon characters to also include in that.
Who are you thinking? So
Donald Duck.
Donald Duck, yeah. I'm trying to remember what Donald Duck looks like.
Wouldn't Donald Duck be more famous than Winnie the Pooh, or am I just in the wrong circles?
Does Donald Duck have arms?
Yeah, I think he has kind of feathery arms.
Yeah, because maybe it's that a bear is, relatively similar anatomy to a human.
I guess so.
Like, well, very, roughly, but like...
Well, for the sake of argument, sure.
Well, my thought would be that a duck's kind of things that he would need to hide would be facing a different direction, say, were he to look at you.
Fine. But we don't see the penis. I think that's what I'm trying to kind of boil down to subtly. But
which is another question in itself.
Yeah. What, does he have one?
Yeah.
Or is it just kind of tucked, Buffalo Bill style?
A lot of... Oh, nice. Yeah. That's a weird image thinking of... Yeah, Winnie the Pooh and Buffalo Bill combined into one person. He
puts
must
the
have...
honey on it.
Yeah, no, good. That's funny. Yeah, okay. So they're not opposed to all pantsless cartoons.
Well, not seemingly, unless they've decided... I would have just said... blanket ban on any cartoon character with no pants, but they've gone straight for Winnie the Pooh. I don't know if that means that they have a kind of really thick law book.
Yeah, thick law
with every single
pantsless
character in a separate law.
Yeah, and a set of amendments as new cartoons come up.
Or as Parliament kind of debates what constitutes a pant on a cartoon character.
Or who requires a pant as a cartoon character.
Well, what's the little piglet called?
Piglet.
Yeah. Does he have pants? I noticed he's...
Yeah, I think he might have pants. I think he's wearing overalls.
Well, I guess that leads us to why, if he's got pants, why doesn't Winnie have pants?
Yeah, what's Tigger wearing? Tigger's wearing nothing. I'm pretty sure Tigger's got nothing.
I think I just wanted to leave it hanging on what's Tigger wearing and just leave a kind of gap there.
Sure.
All right. You know what? I'm going to move on from that law, which I'm,
It's a weird law. I grant you it fits the scenario.
That's why I brought it here.
What I would like to know is, so I asked this last time I was on this show too. Some of these laws you think about, who brought it in? Was it ever enacted? Are people actively, is Winnie the Pooh actively kind of like attacked by police over there? Like, do people wear shirts and they send the cop, no, you get that out of here.
That's corporal punishment.
Yeah.
Well,
and who brought the law in?
Yeah, who brought the law in? Someone go, all right, we need to bring a law in. No Winnie the Pooh symbols on anything.
Yeah.
And, well, why?
Yeah,
and someone else goes, why? What's the problem? We go, he hasn't got pants. Okay, sure.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it might encourage children not to wear pants.
Yeah. Yeah, that's maybe it. Maybe it's a warmth thing.
Does a warmth thing?
Yeah, like, well, it's cold in Poland sometimes. Maybe they're worried that it encouraged children to be cold.
I think that's a sort of law where the first time you see a kid walking down the street with no pants on, holding a jar of honey, that's when you go, all right, the law comes in. But this preemptive kind of strike of...
Well, we're only assuming it's preemptive.
That's true.
Perhaps there was a rash of pantsless, honey-eaten children involved. I
didn't go back to the library. You know, the library in old movies where you just go and you go in and there's that whirly thing where the newspapers flicker past.
A microfiche?
Yeah. Go through the pole and microfiche of pantsless child with hand in honey pot.
Another rash of, pantsless children eating honey. Yeah, sure.
All right. I think before we started this, I said, let's just nip through each of these quickly. And
I remember we couldn't do that. We
spent a lot of time talking about Winnie the Pooh's penis.
There's a lot to go on. Well, lack of penis.
Yeah. Well, there's that. All right. Let me just go quickly. I say quickly in some hope to...
You can't edit this at the end, right?
Well, what would you cut out of all that?
It's all gold. You didn't get rid of any of it.
All right.
I looked up the Winnie the Pooh law in Poland, and you missed a key part of it, which brings up far more questions than what you had talked about.
Well, let's just jump back straight into it now.
Winnie the Pooh has been banned from Polish playgrounds for 2 reasons: inappropriate dress and dubious sexuality.
What? That wasn't on the info that I saw.
Dubious sexuality. I don't remember much sexuality out of Winnie the Pooh.
So hang on. Are you saying that the laws brought in not because he's just pantsless and might encourage children to go pantsless, but because he's pantsless and gay? Is that what they're saying?
Whoa, no. Even weirder. But the more I read, the weirder it gets. So it is not a national law. It is one small area called Tucson. And so what happened was it was suggested as making Winnie the Pooh the kind of the face of the play area in the small town. So he was going to be like it was going to be a play area park. But it was then the idea sparked outrage because half the council said Winnie the Pooh's a hermaphrodite. We can't have a hermaphrodite dare be the face of our people. And this led to a law being implemented in this area.
What's this based on that he's hermaphrodite?
I don't know.
Is it because of the tuck?
Wow. It doesn't wear underpants because it doesn't have a sex. That's where you get hermaphrodite. Yeah. Holy dooly.
Are you telling me that like this was debated in council chambers?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. This is recent too. This is very recent. It's still yet to be decided if Pooh will be the face of this thing or not. Wow.
Is this possibly an extension of...
Well, it was recent in 2014. Sorry.
Right.
But still, hermaphrodite bear, that's bizarre.
I don't know. Oh, okay. I didn't know it had that kind of connotation on it. I just thought it was people being a bit weird and prudish about a pantsless bear. But if they're determining based on the fact that his genitals, or its genitals, I should say now, aren't drawn.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's what we're deciding. Yeah.
Oh, bro. Okay. So I found another one. Look, this is fodder for a podcast of its own self.
Yeah.
There is a history of people banning Winnie the Pooh over his dubious sexuality and lack of penis. Croatia and Russia both come up as places where he has had some issue. An insult to God, he's been called it. A religious abomination.
What?
Yeah, well.
Getting this?
Newsweek.com. I don't know how trustworthy that is, but yeah. Yeah, wow. Yeah. So, there's a lot more to that than we thought, but, well, yeah.
Well, all right. Is there more you want to tell us now? Because I might just throw some other stuff out and just keep on.
No. Look, the homophobic rage directed at him was also directed at Tinky Winky from the Teletubbies at this similar era of 2014, apparently.
But hang on. Why, again, I'm going to have to ask why one is singled out. Surely they all look the same virtually, don't they?
I seem to remember, I don't remember much about this, but one of them was a little more dubious in his actions.
But what does that mean?
I don't know. Well, I'm not like right-wing Eastern European. I can see it as just a character. It's fine with me. No, there's a lot more stuff that we could go into on this, but I think it's best to leave it there and let, users at home You listeners at
Well,
home.
maybe we'll check back in.
Yeah, let's.
Check back in another time.
Yeah, well, where did you get your info from?
Look, it was just I think it was just a kind of rando collection of weird laws. It was very short. It didn't go into any of that kind of detail.
Well, this is the best article I've found from what news source? Vanity Fair.
Oh, yeah. So we're right on the...
Polish lawmakers want to ban Winnie the Pooh over his dubious sexuality. That's the headline. Yeah, well. Immodest bear. Deeper moral issues with the immodest bear. Oh, no.
Is it weird that I'm feeling sorry for Winnie, even though he's just a character drawn by somebody? That he's had this persecution put on?
A.A. Milne, I believe, was still alive when this happened. When did A.A. Milne die?
I don't know. I'm not 100% across the...
Yeah, you know when you thought we couldn't go long on this thing?
Right. I'd rather do it. If you got more, I'd rather do it.
I think we could do a whole serial-esque 10-parter on this. But
A.A. Milne died in 1956.
so he was well dead.
He was well dead. He didn't have to live through this
abomination.
Scurrilous scuttlebutt. No.
Look, these are vague and leading claims, but a council member, this is in the Polish town, also made some remarkable claims about the origins of Pooh and his creator A.A. Milne, involving Pooh's testicles and a rusty razor blade.
What is this? This is just people looking at a picture and going off on crazy flights of fancy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. And Vanity Fair agrees with you. He says he's far from the only animated character to go hands-free. Donald Duck, anybody? So, yeah.
This one, anyway. Look, I like this mode of podcast structure where I bring a paragraph and then you go and actually look it up properly and start telling the real information. This is good. I enjoy this. All right. I'm going to move across to... a couple of...
Yeah, I got another bit. We can move in one sec, but this is great. The response from other parts of Poland about this is great. So a national Polish news program reporter said, Winnie the Pooh was a bear with low intellect. And unfortunately, this is also evident in those who are concerned with this topic.
Oh, right. I was wondering.
But both are good. Yeah, so it's like, the bear's stupid, you idiots are stupid who care about his pants. I think that's a good way to count it.
But why do they call him stupid? Just because he had a bit of a one-track mind in terms of the acquisition of honey, or...
I don't remember much about the stories. Was that all he wanted, was honey?
Yeah.
He had some odd friends.
He did. They don't really kind of fit together.
They're animals.
They were, but tigers don't hang out with pigs and bears that much, I wouldn't have thought.
No, and the donkey had severe depression. Right?
It did, didn't it?
That was interesting.
Oh, well, I think, have we
done this topic enough? Is that
now I'm thinking about A.A. Milne. Did we get to the kind of bottom of kind of what was happening in his mind?
Well, a little bit of what I read there said that Pooh Bear was based on A.A. Milne's son.
Right.
Yeah.
So who was
half bear, half man child?
So who was Eeyore based on, though? That's a real question.
Probably a friend of his son's.
Yeah.
The Millhouse, if you will.
Mm. It's a shame that A.A. Milne wasn't around in podcasting times. We'd get him on a Zoom chat and ask him these questions.
Yeah, he'd be hundreds of years old then. Why don't we move on?
Well, every time I do, you find a new paragraph. All right, I'll move on. So I'm just going to tell you a quick story of unlikely survival. Very weird and unlikely. A lady called Eva Wisniewska, who's a German paraglider.
Oh, yeah.
Paragliding champion. She won the...
Paragliding champion. How do you do better at paragliding than someone else? I thought it was just get from the top to the bottom.
Well,
is it a distance thing?
Well, staying in the air better than other people, I guess.
Okay.
Which she certainly did in this incident.
Did she get caught in an upgust? I think I might have heard about this.
Well,
go on.
So, yeah, champion paraglider in Australia, in a place called Manila, New South Wales, on February 14, 2007.
Manila, New South Wales. Where do you reckon that is?
We're not going to get...
It's more fun doing it this way.
I don't know where Manila is.
It's got to be close to the water.
I
you
don't know.
think?
Yeah.
Or maybe not. Because jumping on cliffs, I just associate paragliding with jumping on cliffs. Go on, sorry. That's really it. Yeah, how much you paid to enter the contest.
Yes. So while paragliding in Manila, New South Wales, while training for the 2007 Paragliding World Championships, no less, she was sucked into the ascending current of a cumulus nimbus cloud. So that's a cloud that the ones that have large and heavy rain.
Yeah, cumulus nimbus. It's the most popular of all clouds. Yeah. Everyone knows the name of that.
And can often have hail inside and extremely low temperatures. So she was lifted up into that and
battered around by a storm of hail.
Well, unable to fly out of it.
Jesus.
So she was lifted to an altitude of 9,946 meters, according to her GPS.
No, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Sorry, can we swear on the pod?
Yeah, swear, go.
Get the fuck out of here. 9,000 meters?
Well, nearly 10,000 meters. Yeah.
10 Ks into the sky?
Yeah. So
that's insane.
That's
is that space?
That's Everest.
How far is space away?
That's Everest. I'm pretty sure that's Everest.
Don't planes fly at 3,300 feet?
Yeah, so that is getting up to kind of where...
Like 4 planes?
Flight path territory.
No, higher. Much higher.
Well, it's higher than Everest, right?
Actually, planes aren't flying at Everest height.
Yeah, so, all right, well, let's look up standard plane flight path height.
I think it's 3,300 feet. Space is 100 kilometers up.
Yeah.
I looked it up.
Okay, so commercial aircraft fly between 31 and 38,000 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
But even still, that's double plane height.
No.
Didn't you say she was up to 10,000?
Yeah, and this is 31. Oh, feet. Sorry. Yeah, this is feet. So what's that? 5.9. So feet. Yeah, so that's the same. That's nearly 10K. 10K up. Oh,
yeah.
So, yeah. Being in a plane and just see a paraglider kind of whirling around.
Surely it'd be really cold and hard to breathe.
Well, yeah, she passed out and was out for quite a long time, and they credit her surviving with the fact that she passed out, lowering her heartbeat to a point where she could kind of ride it out for a little while.
Champion paraglider, that only she'd know to do that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, in the same weather event, a Chinese paraglider was killed by a lightning strike. So
the same weather event?
Yeah, so that...
killed a paraglider. Shit.
Yeah, so another...
Shit, can you imagine that? Getting struck by lightning in midair? That's terrible.
Well, it didn't say it was in midair. It might have been on the bus on the way back.
Yeah.
But that's a hectic day for paragliders in that area, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's an unlikely...
but she survived because she lowered her heart rate.
So she
flew back down?
Sorry, she landed 3.5 hours later.
3.5 hours?
That's what I'm saying. About 60 Ks away from her.
You can nearly fly to New Zealand in that time, right?
In a plane or a paraglider?
Plane, not a paraglider.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think you should be going as fast as a plane.
Now, Monty, have you got something for me, fella?
Yeah, I got some stuff. I got some interesting stuff. A few things. Firstly, have you heard about the fact... Have you heard about the or not, the fact or not, that lobsters are immortal?
You may have slipped that into a conversation at some point, and for whatever reason, I didn't follow up with you. I didn't say... Monty, what?
It's better if it's just by the by in a conversation. Well, lobsters are immortal.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Well,
And
yeah,
back to
right.
the taxes. Yeah. So what it is that they are immortal. If they were to sit still and nothing were to happen to them ever, they would live forever, I believe.
Well, that's not true when they get stuck on a Chinese dock.
Yeah,
because the Chinese are...
But what kills lobsters apparently is they have to change shells. Well, that's 100 degrees centigrade. Yeah,
Wow.
But they have to change shells occasionally. I don't know how they molt and build a new shell. You know what I mean? And that's exhausting for them.
Okay,
right, and that kills them. They die of exhaustion after the 6 or 7th time that happens. Yeah.
Okay, so how often do they change shells?
I don't know how often. I could have looked that up.
Hazard a guess.
Every 4 years. The average male lobster lives to about 32, I think, and the average female a bit older. But real strong ones, like real tough ones, can, in theory, be immortal. So what I have for you, and this is amazing, is a
The
list.
most immortalist lobster ever.
Well, the 8 oldest lobsters in the world. Yeah. So let's run through this. Coming in at number 8, weighing 20 pounds, caught in Maine in 2015, the Big Dipper lobster. He was somewhere between 25 and 50 years. I don't know why they're so vague about the age.
Yeah, that's vague.
Yeah. Coming in at 7, this guy's definitely over 50 years. By the way, I don't know how they age these lobsters. Maybe it's size, because I assume they keep getting bigger and bigger, and the pictures I'm seeing, they're humongous. It's crazy.
All right.
This one is over 50 years old, weighs 4.5 kilos, captured in 2012. His name, Patrick. Number 6 has another good name too.
Patrick was a starfish anyway.
This one's more than 50 years old, 4 kilos, 2011, West Sussex, England. It's called Large British Lobster. Patrick and Large British Lobster.
I didn't know lobsters hung around in British waters.
Yeah, apparently. Must be down near Pompey. So, like, South Coast. Yeah. Number 5, this one, the name is weird. Things jump a lot here. Shit gets crazy. So he was caught in Nova Scotia in Canada in 1977. He weighed 20 kilos.
What?
And he was approximately 100 years old. And his name was Official Heaviest Marine Crustacean. But keep in mind, that's number 5.
From where though?
That was in Nova Scotia, Canada.
Okay, so that to me sounds like a bad translation from Japanese or something.
Official Heaviest Marine
Why is
Crustacean.
it Nova Scotians calling it that?
I don't know. But then we move on. The next one is possibly older than 100 years. That's his age. He weighs 23 kilos, caught in 1926, and his name is Largest Lobster from Maine.
Why are you telling me what they call them?
Because it's the next one. The next one doesn't have his weight in kilos, but he weighs 15 pounds.
Right. Which is
Not very much.
not very big. That's 7 or 6 or 7.
But his age is approximately 110 years old.
But hang on.
He's in Florida, and his name is Larry.
I thought we were judging age by size, though.
But there must be some other way.
I've never heard you so despairing. There must be some
Larry
other
lives
way.
at a restaurant too.
Lives at a restaurant.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's bizarre.
100 years old and just been put in a tank and watching people.
I'll tell you what, Larry and this next one, who is approximately 132 years old.
It's a very
Hampstead, New
specific
York.
approximate.
Isn't it? It's weird. But they look super old. They're all gross looking.
Well, they got a peak cap and whiskey beard or something.
This one's name is Louie.
Louie?
Yep.
All right. I'm glad I know these names, these lobster names.
And number 1, the oldest lobster ever, approximately 140 years old, 20 pounds, caught in Newfoundland, Canada, but ended up in New York City. That's weird. But his name is George.
Good.
I don't know.
So
I don't know how they're.
how do you date
Okay.
a lobster? How do you age a lobster?
Well, it
I
says-
should say, a dating.
They
stick.
estimated that George was about 140 years old based on his size,
Right.
but he's weighs a shitload less than some
there's
like,
there's
like largest
the pattern
crustacean.
doesn't work with a couple of those in there.
2 customers noticed the large lobster and contacted Peter, who then convinced the restaurant owner to release George back into the wild. I like this next sentence. He was taken to New Hampshire, where a crustacean expert eased him back into the water.
All right, there, fella.
On you
All
go,
right, there,
George.
fella.
Yeah, so that's my story about bizarre internet telling me about old lobsters.
That's okay. The bizarrest part of that story is why they named them all, and
Well,
why.
some of them, and some just got like largest crustacean ever.
And then on top of that, why you told me their names.
I liked their messages. Yeah, that was bizarre.
All right. Thank you, mate. Let's move on. I'll move on very quickly.
Yeah, let's do that.
To a weird product. And unfortunately, it's a product that didn't really catch on
Uh-oh.
all that well. It was invented in 1882
Okay.
by James Williams in Texas. And this bugger didn't like mice. He had a real problem with mice, right? So he invented a mousetrap, which unfortunately it didn't take off with people. as much as he'd hoped. It was a loaded 50 caliber revolver.
I'm seeing the image. It's brilliant.
Which is sort of set up on a little kind of plinth thing there, and the mouse kind of sets off something at the business end of the
and
revolver.
Jablamo.
And it's sitting there cocked ready to fire. And for whatever reason, people were a bit wary about having a loaded revolver on the floor of their kitchen.
Very.
Kind of ready to go off at the slightest bump or triggering of any kind. So unfortunately, the revolver mousetrap didn't take off.
Can I give you a weird modern kind of version of that ended in some issues?
Yes, please.
Some people on a farm in Texas. I worked for a wildlife hunting channel in Canada when I was there.
Right.
And heard some weird stories, saw some weird stuff.
I'd like to do a Canada special at some point because there's some weird gear that happens with those Canadians.
A bunch of weirdos. I have a Canadian wife. She'll be able to help out. So I worked with them. They told me about this thing that happened where a group of well-meaning people in Texas noticed their buddies returning from war with disabilities that still desired to go out and hunt animals.
Right.
But could not.
Right.
And so they had the idea of setting up a hunting rifle with a mechanical trigger connected to a camera that you could access via the internet and then go online.
Are you telling me that you're sitting at home hunting?
Sitting at home hunting, could revolve the rifle 360 in an animal protect, but it was very easily hackable. None of these people knew internet so well, and I believe someone shot someone. What? Yeah, you couldn't move it, but they waited until there was someone in the line of fire and shot them. Yeah.
But if they hack in and aren't detected, then that's kind of the perfect crime, isn't it? Because unfortunately, you're setting up a little traumatized veteran fella who's sitting at home trying to hunt.
Yeah. It's bizarre.
Right.
So, that adds to that. Now, I've got another story, but I think we're going long. I can save it.
Yes, please save it. We'll do it. We'll come back and do another one very shortly.
That. Yeah.
I need to throw a parting oddity at you.
Please.
And it's on the topic of mice again.
Oh.
Because, I like themes. So before Catherine the Great, the famed Russian ruler, before she was great, she was married to King Peter III of Russia.
Yeah.
Who wasn't so great.
No. Regular Pete, they call it.
And one of the things he liked to do was play with toy soldiers, apparently. That was a hobby of his that occupied a lot of his time and a lot of his energy.
What era would this be? What year?
All right, so I'm going to say mid-1700s.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I wonder what toy soldiers looked like in the mid-1700s.
Probably just kind of little tin-looking things or wooden, surely, carved wooden.
Yeah.
Soldiers. Anyway, the point is that he, as well as playing with the toy soldiers, he also forced Catherine to dress in military uniform and carry out drills with him while he was playing with his toy soldiers.
Sure.
So there's that. Unfortunately, one evening, a mouse got in.
Into his toy soldier area?
His toy soldier area and started and chewed one of his soldiers. So really munted it up.
You know what he needs? The loaded gun
pistol
thing.
trap. Yeah. So obviously, King Peter, furious, he caught the mouse, right?
Yeah.
And put it on trial.
Oh, okay. Seems like overkill.
No, yeah. Well, especially because it didn't sound like there was a jury involved here. When we say put it on trial, he just immediately declared the mouse guilty of treason.
Yeah.
Chewing on a toy soldier equals treason.
Sure.
And he built a miniature gallows so he could hang the mouse.
Once again, seems a little like overkill. You could just kill the mouse.
It was not long after this, actually, that Catherine removed him from power, taking control herself, and went on to become Catherine the Great. So the straw that broke the camel's back was, making a little mouse gallows, apparently. Yeah.
I'm going to keep that in mind. I feel like the mouse gallows probably would work better than the mouse gun trap, though. Like,
Yeah, poor old
mouse gun trap seems really dangerous.
Mr. Williams. Well, I think that's an invention just, fueled by hatred, really.
Mouse hatred.
Yeah.
Both inventions are mouse hatred inventions.
True, but I don't know if a noose is... Oh, well, I suppose a mouse noose is an invention.
Which, I don't think a gallows would work now that I think about it for a mouse. Their bodies aren't the shape that a noose would kill them.
No, but I suppose...
You just have to
leave it there and let it...
choke them.
It would choke them, yeah, but also just leave them there and let it...
Because it's not their own body weight. It's probably not... The neck is the same as the body, right, on a mouse? There is no...
I say that to anyone I kind of meet and talk about mice with.
Yeah, lobsters are immortal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
look... I don't want to tell people to try and hang a mouse and see if it works, but I'm also not saying that.
Well, do you think this was the early incarnations of that game Mousetrap?
Hey.
Because there's some weird stuff that happened in that game. Like rockets falling on mice.
Yeah, were there gallows in that game?
There might have been gallows in that game.
Revolvers?
Yeah, revolvers. Yeah, that's a good parting oddity. That was bizarre.
All right. Well, you know what? We've got plenty more weird stuff to talk about, so we're going to be back. I'm going to have Monty back on very, very, very shortly to get through this backlog of weird stuff. Until then, see you later. Thanks, Monty.
See you, mate. That was fun.
Hi there, Stu here. Just a very polite request. If you don't already, follow one of our social channels. And please spread the word of the weirdness. Yeah, if you listen, you must think it's all right. So tell someone else who might think it's all right. Thanks very much, and sorry that I called reverse charges to tell you that. Do they still have reverse charges? That's still a thing?